Heslabard! There's a bug on the camera. What? No, I can't just smack the camera. I'd be smacking the camera. So how do I kill the bug? I told you we couldn't just squash the bug. What do you mean it's Hello, my name is Aaron Van Nuss. You're watching another episode of Spoiled. Today we're going to be covering RWBY, Volume 2, Episode 3, A Minor Hiccup. As the bard go to the jump cut. So, Episode 3, or as I realized today on the site, apparently it's called Chapter 3, starts out with Jean flirting with Weiss again, and she's just not having any of it. But I gotta say, I mean, the guy's persistent. Spruce Willis. Apparently that's a thing, or a character, or a name. If he shows up in the show and looks like Bruce Willis, oh! Fun fact, Jean talking to Weiss and flirting with her actually takes place within the 1 minute mark, from 3:59 to 4 o'clock. Not the biggest deal, but I'm just kind of saying, most movies, shows, books, well, not really books because you can't watch it. Most movies and shows get that part wrong. They're like, the bomb will go off in 5 minutes. 12 minutes of fight scene later. It's not the biggest deal. I'm just kind of saying they got it right. I actually clocked it. I think it was like 30 seconds, so we saw Weiss counting the clock 30 seconds into it. This rant is going too long. Also, as the class is happening, teacher whatever his name is, all I know he has the awesome blunderbuss shotgun rifle thing with the battle axe on both sides. Pay attention to what he's saying. He's literally walking back and forth, just going, blah, 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 blah. Only the best part is, he's so far away, it almost sounds like actual words, but it's not. Miles and Carrie got an easy break on that one. Didn't have to write any dialogue. Weiss, Team RWBY, and all of them are out of there. Jean is left disappointed. Yang walks by, pats him on the head, and just, I think she said something along the lines of like, one day. Let's face it, it's not going to happen. If Jean and Weiss end up together, I'm going to be disappointed. Kind of rooting for Weiss and Neptune. Don't know why. It's only been one episode. Technically 2 episodes now, but still. Weiss and Neptune. All of my rambling aside, Team RWBY gets back to the room, and they got new outfits. Why am I so excited about that? Honestly, I'm not too sure what I'm supposed to say about the new outfit, so I'm just going to run it down like this. Love RWBY's new outfit. Torn between Weiss's outfit and her old outfit. Blake's pants are awesome, but I prefer the old top. I'm being way too picky about this. I like Yang's new outfit. She's got a lot of black trim and the little purple scarf. Do I have a problem with purple? Did name my company That Purple Shirt Studios. So, new outfits aside, Team RWBY's trying to figure out what exactly it is the White Fang has been up to, which consists of Weiss and RWBY are checking for dust robberies. Blake is going to snoop on the White Fang for a little while, see if she can figure anything out, if they'll let her in. She was hesitant about that part. Yang is going to seduce. I mean, extract information from whoever this guy is. I can't be the only one that was thinking that. So, after they go around the room and everybody's talking about what their mission and job is going to be, they're reassuring themselves of what their team is going to be doing here, then the camera turns and we see Sun hanging out the window upside down. Good gosh, I love that character so much. Anyway, as Sun is hanging there, we're automatically treated to this little great conversation. How did you get up there? Ah, it's easy. I do it all the time. You do what? Yeah, climb trees. I do it all the time. Is Sun a perv? So, as Sun hops inside the room and continues the conversation, all I could think of was, that's right, Sun, you work your way into that conversation. You want to hang out with Blake? Find a way to hang out with Blake. Which he did. Seal of approval. Once Sun is inside the room, he then points out that Neptune is outside. My immediate question, and RWBY's apparently, was, how did you get up here? We're really high up. To which after he explains, oh, I have my ways, I couldn't help but wonder, how did you get up there? So now Neptune and Sun are part of the group that are going out on these little missions. Everybody's getting paired up, and we get a nice little treat of Weiss trying to flirt with Neptune this time around. Seal of approval. However, we get the creepiest laugh from RWBY, and then immediately RWBY and Weiss head out together, and Neptune is with Yang, which means Sun is with Blake. Sun's with Blake! Whew. Weiss and RWBY split off from everybody else, and we get a nice scene cut over to this huge tower. I don't know what the location was, I wasn't really paying attention to that part, but we get a brief history lesson about countries, towers, And apparently there was a Great War. I don't know. I wasn't really paying that much attention. Did they bring it up at some earlier point? I don't necessarily remember that. I do get easily distracted sometimes. Also, in case you didn't notice, everybody's cell phones in RWBY are just like paper thin. So, as Ruby pulls out her cell phone, she fumbles it and drops it, and guess what? Penny is still as creepy as ever. Or at least at first. Even though Penny was creepy in the first season, Ruby is overjoyed to see her again and wants to talk to her about everything that happened at the season finale of Volume 1 at the dock. Whew, that was a mouthful and I really had to breathe after that one. But Penny doesn't really want to talk, so Ruby goes chasing after her and she's like, "Oh, Weiss, you can handle it. See you later. Meet up with you. Bye." Weiss heads inside the giant tower, and as soon as she gets into the elevator, you can automatically tell she's, like, really nervous about making this call. I mean, she practices 2 different smiles, and in between the smiles, she's just kind of like... I mean, seriously, Weiss is like the crazy, overconfident one at times, so it's an interesting dynamic seeing her like this. I'm not used to it. You gonna be okay, girl? Right as Weiss is about to get off the elevator, we see 4 holograms. The 2 axes from Beacon, the 3 swords from I'm not sure where, maybe Atlas? I don't know. What was Atlas? Is Atlas all the continents together? Is it one continent? I know there's a school for each continent. We also get to see the compass, or at least I think it's a compass. I'm sorry, I wish I had more certain answers for you. The show is called Spoiled, and I'm supposed to be ruining it for you and going in depth and talking, but I really don't have that many answers about this one. Also, the beautiful wings. I really like the wings. They looked pretty cool. However, I gotta say, out of the 4 images we got to see, the swords to me were the coolest looking ones. I paused it and took a nice look. I like the Beacon logo, but those swords, oh, those things are awesome. So, Weiss makes the call, and she's not talking to her dad, she's talking to a receptionist back at the Schnee Company, who apparently informs the audience that Weiss has a sister named Winter. Really wonder what her weapon is. I wonder if she also wears a battle skirt. I bet she's hot. So, as Weiss is talking to the receptionist, she's getting all the information her and Ruby were there to get in the first place. She's finding out if there were any robberies or stuff like that. The lady was hesitant to give her the information to start with, but I think it's pretty clear. If Weiss wants something within the company, I think she can get it. I'm pretty sure her name carries that much weight, which is kind of cool because we knew she was rich and famous, as Ruby pointed out. But it's interesting to see the perks that actually go along with that, because it's obvious, like, Weiss before this didn't necessarily have that many friends because of how she interacted with them to begin with. And I don't know, I might be jumping to conclusions, but seriously, she can pull some weight inside that company. So Weiss got what they needed, but as soon as she turns off the monitor, the lady's face fades away and you see Weiss just bummed as could be. I mean, I really want to know what this backstory is of why she doesn't want to talk to her family members. I mean, I have no idea what they could possibly have planned for it. Maybe it's going to come up in the storyline later on, but I don't know. It's interesting. I like family dynamics in shows. Scene cut! Heslabard, seriously, we have too much time on our hands if we can practice that 47 times. Anyway, we get a nice scene cut back over to where Penny said it wasn't too safe for them to talk out in public. So they go to a different public spot because people were listening, but now they're not listening at where they go to. Anyway, as Ruby and Penny are walking and talking, we get a nice little story tidbit, actually, of how Penny's father worries about her, which is going to make no sense whatsoever later on, because we're going to find out she's a robot. The show's called Spoiled. Also, apparently Ruby's father worries about her a lot. When do we get to see him? I'm curious. Do Ruby and Yang share the same mom and dad? Do they only share the same mom? Do they only share the same dad? Are they just adopted? Do they not share any blood ties whatsoever? I would actually really like to know that story part, but we're probably not going to find out for like 2 more seasons. 4th season, Volume 4. I'm calling it right now. That's when we find out. I really hope I'm wrong because I want to know now. Hey, it's Ironface. I mean Ironwood. So, Ironwood's technically in this episode, he's kind of like a hologram and we get to hear his voice. But the really cool part is the Elysium Knight. The Elysium Knight is the new model of whatever the old name was, because they basically just come out of those trailers and kick those things over. To which Ironwood then implies, now, even less scary. In my opinion, it's the non-scary robots you have to worry about. So, as these robots are being revealed, Penny is kind of egging Ruby on, like, come on, we should go. I really want to leave right now. Ruby is just dumbfounded by the amazing robot, so she's just staring at them. And then they unveil the Elysium Paladin. I hope I said that name right because it was pretty epic. This is the same robot we saw Yang, Blake, Sun, and Neptune might have been fighting it? I can't remember. Anyway, they were fighting in the trailer. This is the part that gets me. The Elysium Paladin was co-created by the Schnee Company. Is Weiss's dad a bad guy? Is Iron Face? You know what? Forget it. I'm calling him Iron Face for the rest of the reviews. So anyway, if Weiss's dad and Iron Face are in cahoots, and we know that the White Fang apparently get a hold of one of the Elysium Paladins, does that mean they're bad guys? Did it just get stolen from them along with everything else like Ruby and Weiss were checking up on earlier, or did they give it to them? I don't know. I really like the direction this show's going, though. It's giving me questions. We're 3 episodes in. I'm loving the beat. I'm loving it. So, after the Paladin is revealed, the 2 guards start chasing after them, which made me beg the question, why is Penny being chased in the first place? I mean, did she keep running away from whoever this guy is in the limousine? Questions. This one's actually like slipping questions in. When I watched it on the surface, I was like, oh, that was a cool episode. It had a chase scene. That was nice. But the more I think about it, there's actually like little questions, and I don't know why they're happening, but I like it because it's a compelling story. All in all, I thought that chase scene was actually pretty cool. It was a nice change of pace from the typical fighting and just good dialogue. As the chase scene started, you had some nice music going behind it, which I always enjoy that because, in my opinion, RWBY, the show, not the character, but the show, uses the music very well. You've got Penny running away, the 2 guards chasing them, Ruby's caught in the middle, and as she's running, she's like, oh, we might not get away from these guys. So, crescent rose, chop down that pole, the boxes fall. If you pause the screen real quick, as soon as the boxes start to fall, they just read breakable things. So, as Ruby's parkouring across the wall, we get the awesome stuff where the rose petals are shooting everywhere. She gets in that huge burst of speed. What was that face she made? The music drops, and she kind of just goes... And then as soon as she's done sprinting, it's like she's exhausted. Is that her using her dust? Does it, like, physically drain her? Is it a mental strain? I know they don't necessarily have the time within the show to explain these things, but I don't know. It was just a question. So, RWBY finishes her awesome little sprint, but she was going too fast. Drops Penny, rolls out in the middle of the road, and then we find out that apparently Penny can stop a giant van with her bare hands, and it crushes the ground beneath her. Oh, the old man was driving the van. He almost murdered RWBY. Still doesn't talk, though. Penny freaks out, RWBY catches up to her, they both go running off in the opposite alleyway of the way they came. I checked because I thought they ran back down the same one, but they didn't. And RWBY has all the same questions we do. Why are you running, Penny? How did you stop that van? To which Penny then elaborates on, I can't tell you, I'm not supposed to tell anybody. RWBY keeps pressuring her, she's like, I'm your friend, you can trust me. To which Penny questions, are you really my friend? You have to tell me right now, are you my friend? Yeah, Penny, I'm totally your friend. Okay, well, Penny's a robot, there's no skin, there's just metal. RWBY was really surprised by this part, and I mean, she was like, okay. To me, it begs the question. In Volume 1, the last episode, I think it was episode 16, well, chapter 16 as we found out earlier, Penny had swords fly out of a hole in her back. Now, granted, RWBY did just get shot at by Roman and his awesome cane gun. I've elaborated on the cane gun before, so RWBY was blown back when Penny brought the swords out. But RWBY still would have seen her hold on to the jet with the string tether things and pull it to the ground. Maybe she just thought that was her weapon, but okay, so I guess just take it at face value. RWBY did not know Penny was a robot. She knew she was creepy, but not a robot. Side note, I'm convinced Penny hiccups when either she is lying or when she is nervous about something. Because notice, anytime it seems like she's telling a lie to RWBY, she's hiccuping about the whole thing. Which would be a very funny flaw because she's apparently a robot. You know, like the Terminator, he couldn't get crushed. It would destroy him. Penny can't lie. Penny's like Pinocchio, but with giant swords out of her back. You know, now that I think about it, they're nothing alike. So, putting it into my mini rants, RWBY, Volume 2, Episode 3, Chapter 3. I'm going to call it Episode 3. It's easier to say. A minor hiccup. I actually really enjoyed this episode. I thought the chase scene was fun. The conversations were great. Sun is apparently a pervy monkey, but I still really like his character. Who knows? Maybe he was just climbing that tree for the first time. But then again, that's Blake's room, so he probably wasn't climbing it for the first time. We got to see Penny again. All in all, I thought it was a fun, enjoyable episode. Keep in mind, there's at least going to be 16 episodes, because that's what last season had, and I imagine they're only going to go bigger. My guess is they're going to be 20 episodes, maybe 22, and we're only 3 episodes in, and the story is already pretty rich, like my anime comparison last week, but we're not going to go into that, because I got some mad arguments. What? Closing thoughts, I'm very excited to see where Volume 2 is going to go with the future episodes, chapters, whatever you want to call them, ahead. Last side note, and I promise, the end credits. The end credits introduce us to a new song, which I can't wait to buy as soon as it hits iTunes, because this music is amazing. Thank you, Jeff Williams and Kessie Lee Williams. Pretty sure I got your name right that time. This show is great, and I hope this show is at least adequate. My name is Aaron Van Nuss, and you have watched another episode of Spoiled. Heslabard, we don't have end credits, do we? Dang it. Okay. Scene end.